they
what
have,
to do with it.
or how far dated back they are. Okay, I've had people before that I've given them validations that they had first edition books and actually got the dates of the books, and then they sent me messages going, look at the date, it's first edition, it's the exact year you told us, and we just found out it's worth like $3,000. And then they get to decide if they're gonna keep it or whatever. Do you understand it?
Yeah.
So I just know that there's some old books or parts of book collections that came from your grandparents at some point. Even if they're packed away, they wanna make sure that I'm able to validate it for you. I love that so much. I do hear about keeping the sweaters or saving the sweaters. Mom Rita's like, talk about keeping my sweaters. Do you understand it? Even if you just kept a few.
Wore
'cause
one
there's-
yesterday.
That's why. They're so rare, so I love that. She just keeps saying to me she's happy for the sweater she's kept. Plus, remember, it has her energy in it. Sometimes they'll still smell like her. It's just that comfort level of you wearing that and honor her, and it can bring you closer connections to her. So I just want you to be open to that, honey, okay? It's wonderful validation. I love she's validating it. They're giving a happy early birthday for May. Okay.
We have a child coming.
Oh, that's the month. I kept hearing less than 2 months. So because they said less than 2 months earlier, and I said I'll come back to it, they're now giving me that the baby is due in May. Good. Your moms are working as angels for the new baby, and they're going to share in the responsibility of the new baby. Your mom Beverly and her mom Rita. That's great. I love that. I just heard call us both angels. That's wonderful validation. Your mom had such a strong faith because I can feel it. I love that so much. I also hear her mentioning to me about do you understand what I'm talking to me about the antique rocker or keeping the antique rocker?
I have about 3 rockers, that I was just going to give to each child.
That's what it's about. Good. They want them to become heirlooms. They want them to become antiques in the family. And I keep hearing her mention about the rockers. That's wonderful. Because I just felt like I was rocking back and forth. So if you guys are planning on doing that, it's wonderful. I love that. Kenny's got soul assignment to your oldest.
Okay.
What was it?
Dad's got assignment to my oldest. My oldest has passed.
I know.
We never hear from her.
He's helping her come through.
Lauren.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. He told me her name. I would have heard her. But he just keeps saying to me he's got soul assignment with her and he's watching over her. So they all have her on the other side, but she spends most of her time with your dad, Kenny. Do you understand it? How long has she been gone for, honey?
6 years.
6 years.
Good. They're saying 10 years is the next milestone. That means because you guys are past 5 years with her, 10 years is the next milestone. Do you understand it? So she's a soul you guys were hoping for. Your parents are helping her come through because it's the loss of a child. And I hear your dad saying to me they have her, and he's the one that spends the most time with her. Plus, he's the most recent passing for you because your mom Rita was there before he was. Do you understand it? And he would have passed closer to her than anybody else as far as your parents. Do you understand? So they're together on the other side. They're all spending time together. Your mom Rita is also acknowledging to me that she wants you to know that they have her and they're watching over her. Do you understand it? So let's take our time. Do you understand the drugs or the addiction, honey? Do you understand the addiction and the drugs?
Yeah.
Because I keep hearing about it being addiction and drugs. Do you understand it? Somebody's struggling with that or going through that, that they're watching over. Do you understand it?
No.
That can be Lauren's friends, or it can be somebody in the family, and cousins and their children. But I keep hearing they've been helping with the addiction and they're watching over it. You understand it? Thank you, good. It could be hard drugs, it can be pills, it could be alcohol. I just hear them saying to me, they've been intervening, they've been coming in spirit, they're watching and they're helping that soul. So as long as you guys understand it, I just hear they have an eye on it. That's important, okay? Did you guys release lanterns, or have you thought about doing that for your daughter? She just keeps saying she knows. Please remember that can get into friends as well. I just hear it's been thought about. So I'll just leave that for you, okay? Because that's important. And do you understand the name Nicole?
Nicole?
Okay. I know you guys know some friends, but not all. So I'm just going to honor it, okay? Because I know there's other people she's watching over. It could be me catching first or middle names, so no worries. There's a happy early birthday for July.
My brother.
that came from your mom, Rita.
Mhm,
I'll be
sure.
there in July.
Yeah.
She's an angel
like
for
that.
him.
He needs it.
She's saying to me she watches over his health.
Good, I'm glad. I
understand
worry
it?
about that.
So she's telling me to tell you she's a health angel for him. So I'm
Okay, good.
piggybacking your mom, your dad, and your daughter all at the same time. So let's take our time with it, okay? I do hear about the rubber bands or the rubber bracelets.
Mm-hmm,
Lauren's telling me about that.
yeah.
She said she loves them.
Okay, good.
So one or several people did that, whether you guys
When
did that
she
as a
first
family and
passed, they made
friends.
bracelets.
She's like, I love the bracelets, I love the rubber bracelets, I love the rubber bands done for
Okay.
me. She's saying she's grateful for that. That meant a lot to her. I also hear her saying to me too, balloons were released as well, and the lanterns have been thought about. So just means somebody's been thinking about throwing
She's
lanterns
got
for
two
her.
sisters.
Good. Somebody else either released balloons or thought about it, because I always try to tell people, you can go to a balloon release for somebody else and still send a balloon up for a friend or family member. So that can get into her friends, so that'll take some time. She's saying to me there's been several tattoos already. She's like, I know about the tattoos, and she's saying she knows about the angel wings, so somebody did the angel wings or thought about them.
Mm.
That's important, so share that, because that can get into friends. She's also saying to me, she's excited about the baby coming too. She's like, Kelly, I just want to do kisses and play with the feet. That's all I heard. And I could see her taking her finger across the baby's feet. So I want you guys to pay attention to that, because you might actually catch the baby kicking or looking like somebody's playing with the baby's feet. When the baby's born, it'll be your daughter.
Okay.
That's wonderful. I hear her saying to me about still having the voice recordings or still having the voice, whether it's old phone messages, old videotapes. She's grateful for that as well. That means a lot to her. And she's saying to me they're listened to on occasion. Do you understand it? Whether you guys are doing that or friends or family, it's her way of saying she knows that that gives comfort. She said, I know how much they wanted to hear from my grandparents, but they wondered if I would come through, Kelly. I know that I was the hardest loss. I know how much they miss me. Please tell them I see every way they celebrate me, and I can still hear them talk about me. And then she's talking about having cake for her birthday.
Right, that's what I was going to say about the candles. Cake. Yeah.
She knew, she had to tell me, because if you're getting ready to say it, she's like, talk about having cake
Yeah.
for my birthday.
Can I
Do you
tell you
guys-
a story?
Yeah, do you guys still do that? She
We
knows
still
about
have
it.
a birthday cake for her on her birthday. It's
She
in
knows.
January.
Yeah.
Well, we actually bought one of those carousel cake things that you put on the cake and you light the candle and it comes out in the flower.
You know how you have it's
And
a
it plays
candle
music.
and it plays, you know,
Mhm.
When we
birthday.
got our sisters and we all sat around the kitchen,
This
it
was
wasn't
for-
even,
It was for my birthday. I got a daughter, she loves candles, so she buys a couple. She decided to go with something else and left this candle in a package, and I turned 60 and it was last year. And after the sparklers, they were, we blow them out and everybody sang.
Right.
And all of a sudden we hear this happy birthday to you, and we're looking around the house like, what the hell is that? And it was the candle we did not use. It was in the package.
Plain by
it's still
itself.
in the box.
It has to open up.
hadn't
You
even
have to
opened
light
it.
it
They did
and
it.
open it up for it to spin like a
They
balloon.
did it.
Yeah, we
They
knew
made
it was her,
happen.
yeah.
They made it happen.
Because it's kind of like a landmark birthday, I guess, you know? So I was like,
They made it happen. It wasn't just her, it was your parents, because it was your sister.
Yeah.
It came from all three
all
of
of
them.
them. Okay, very good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Your dad's saying, I had a hand in that too.
Okay,
I'm like, okay. And Rita's like, it came from the three of us. That's
Okay,
great.
Good.
But she's saying to me, she knows you guys still do birthday cakes in her honor,
Yes.
and that you've done that. And so just know she knows that you still celebrate her birthday. I love she talked about the rubber bands. Did you make t-shirts or have you thought about t-shirts? Because she's saying she knows. It
There
just
was
means-
a t-shirt.
Oh.
Remember the t-shirt?
Yeah, so whether that's been done or thought about, she
Mhm.
knows about that as well.
I don't think
I
we could.
do-
We X that one.
I do hear some of the clothes have been kept.
Yes,
And I
yes, of
hear
course.
it's been thought about cutting them and sewing them. And I can see stuffed animals lined up. So did you guys do stuffed animals or have you thought about that as well? Because it just
Maybe
means she's
sisters.
given the blessing
Yeah.
that stuffed animals can be done if blankets or pillows aren't done.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'll leave that for you guys because she just
Full
keeps
of
saying
all
to me,
kinds of ideas, aren't
you
they?
know what's really, you know what's really cool? I did a home group a couple months ago.
So,
And there was, I did a home group a couple months ago, and there was a mom and her daughter in the group, and they were hoping to hear from this young boy by the name of Pat. He came through, he passed a drug overdose, and he was an EMT firefighter, and it was his mom and sister in the group, and he did an amazing job. Like, he was so detailed, it was just crazy. but they actually had purses with them where they had cut his t-shirts and made cloth purses out of his clothing. And then one of them buttoned and one of them zippered, and then they could just put them in the wash. They would wash them and then carry him with them. It was the first time I ever see anybody do
Never
something
heard
like
of
that, right?
Mhm.
So I just hear it's okay to turn the clothes into stuffed animals if blankets and pillows aren't chosen, and that there's other ideas that she's guiding you guys to. So I just
Okay.
want you to open. She's also talking about changing the photos and the picture frames or making changes to the photos.
Okay.
Good. So whether somebody just did that or is about to, I also keep hearing about adding music to the CDs with the pictures to match.
Okay.
And that doesn't have to be something that was done in her honor.
Mhm.
That could be one of her friends actually took music that reminded them of Lauren and
Mhm.
added it to the pictures, and that's being done as well. So I just want you to be open to that, honey, okay?
Okay.
I do hear her talking about sending rainbows. Do you understand it?
Mhm.
Anytime somebody tells me they send rainbows, it's that promise of the afterlife, that promise that they're with God, that you're gonna have a chance to see them again. I know it's a big way she's trying to connect with you guys and reach out. That's important. Do you understand the name Katie? Like Kate, Katie, Kate, or Emily?
Well, we have Lauren's sister's middle name is Caitlin.
Well, Sarah's middle name is Caitlin.
Okay, good. Yeah, she's just trying to give it to me, honey. It's okay.
Mhm.
She's watching over both girls, but that's the one she's watching over the strongest. And sometimes I'll catch the middle name instead.
Mhm.
I could just see the K-A-T. Okay. And hear about nursing or nursing degree?
She was a radiographer.
She was a radiographer.
She just keeps talking about being in the medical field, and
Mm-hmm.
wanting to get more schooling and not having a chance to finish it, or
Yeah.
not having a chance to do everything she wanted to do.
Right.
And I could just feel stethoscope and stress.
Mhm.
She
was
worked at
proud.
St. Mary's Hospital and
She would-
on orthopedic surgeons.
She was proud of that. St. Mary's
Mhm.
down in Southern Maryland.
And then Calvert Orthopedic
I need
for
to
surgeons.
I need to tell you something.
Okay.
So after my coaching appointment with my student Tina today, I was drinking hot tea and relaxing a little bit on my couch. It was probably somewhere around 3 or 4. And I wasn't open to spirit. Sometimes I'll feel stuff ahead of time. And I'm like, why am I in St. Mary's Hospital, and why do I feel like I'm going to go to St. Mary's Hospital? And I didn't understand it until you guys just said it.
Mhm.
She was probably already trying to get my attention because they knew that they were going to help her come through the night. Sometimes that happens. I'm not open to the other side until I say prayers, but there is times where I'll start to feel them early. So I'm going to give you an example. I was going to do a group one time in Westminster where people bought tickets to come and see me. And there was a young boy that literally got in my vehicle in spirit, sat in my back and was like, "Hi Kylie, I'm Tyler." And Jeff and I are driving, and I'm getting ready to go to my event so we can set up and Jeff can check people in. And he's like, "Up here there's going to be a grocery store on the right." I don't know where I'm going. I'm like, "Hi, there's a young boy by the name of Tyler in the back seat. And he's telling me there's going to be a grocery store up here on the right, and we need to go there because he's telling me I need to go buy flowers for his mom because she's coming to my group." We pulled in the parking lot. He goes, "Walk in this door. As soon as you get inside, the flowers are right there. And the very first flowers you're going to see are sunflowers." And sure enough, I walked in the grocery store, and the very first flowers were sunflowers. He's like, "Get the sunflowers for my mom." So I bought them, got in line. I'm talking to him in spirit. Nobody knows I'm talking to him because I'm like talking to him here. Then we get there. I had to pull a piece of paper out of one of the notebooks we had in the car, and he gave me a barbecue recipe to give his dad. So I'm reading this group, okay? I hid the flowers behind my chair, along with the barbecue recipe. And when it came time for him to come through, I handed the sunflowers to his mom, and she said it was her birthday. And I said, "Tyler wants me to give you this barbecue recipe," and he said they made barbecue all the time, and he actually came up with a new recipe from heaven and made me actually write it down.
Wow.
And Jeff and I were like, "That sounds so good. You guys need to send us a message and let us know how it turns out." And there's 12 ingredients in it. So sometimes I'll feel stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a group I went to one time where I was drawn to take a dragonfly necklace and put it in a bag that I had recently gotten, which I know my friend was guided to give me for my birthday. And it was a black and white bag that had the Eiffel Tower on it. So my guides are like, that dragonfly necklace we made you buy that we said you would eventually give to somebody, go into your room, get it out of the jewelry box, put it in the Eiffel Tower bag, and take it to this group. So I'm like, alright. I didn't know who it went to, I did it. I just listened. So I go to this group and I'm reading downtown in Baltimore, a place called Blue Moon, down around Fells Point. Oh my gosh, I love Blue Moon. You ever try the Captain French toast? You guys need to go get it, it's amazing. So Sarah, the owner, asked me to come there. So I went there and did a group one time. And there was a mom and daughter that came, and they had just lost what was the husband and the dad. His name was John. And he came through, and as I'm communicating, my guides are like, go get the bag, it's for his daughter. So I gave it to them, and I'm like, he's talking about sending dragonflies, and she pulled the dragonfly necklace out, and her mom just started crying. And they're like, we see dragonflies all the time. So her mom sent me a message a couple days later, and she's like, Kelly, she's like, I have to talk to you because John was talking about, you know, how young she was when he passed, and, you know, she was, she was 14 then, and he had been passed for 3 years, but she went into such a deep depression that Debbie had her in and out of Shepherd Pratt. She thought about taking her life. Like, it was pretty serious. And so she said the message ended up actually changing her life. And she goes, I didn't get a chance to tell you that night because so many people after I was done that message, when I was done the group, went over and hugged them and talked to them because they saw her breaking down and how emotional that message was. And he kept saying he was still her dad and he was proud of her. And he's been giving her strength through some of the personal things she's going through, and he doesn't want her to give up on herself. And she just graduated. And now she's finding her own path in her own way. And you know, she's an adult and she's in an acceptance now, and she's a completely different person. But the cool thing about it was, when Debbie sent me that message, she goes, I can't believe that they told you to put the dragonfly necklace in the Eiffel Tower bag. And she said 2 weeks before I read them, her daughter decided to change her bedroom to a Paris-themed bedroom, and they had bought Eiffel Tower curtains.
Oh, wow.
And the dragonfly necklace was the sign that they were both seeing from him. And then guess what? Debbie's my editor now. So when my book came out, she read it, and she's like, can we go back and change this chapter? And I'm like, why? She goes, I know that you're in spirit world and you only remember the messages you passed, but you completely forgot about how the two of us were comforted by everybody else. I wasn't paying attention to that because I'm on the whole other side of the restaurant answering questions. I'm like, sure, let's go back and add extra pages to it. And then my guides ended up channeling more stuff that I forgot, and I ended up adding an extra 41 pages to the book, and now she's my editor. So she edited my animal communication book, and she'll be my editor for my next however many books, because they told me I'm going to write over 30. So I'm like, get ready, honey.
Yeah.
So I'm starting my third one. But she actually stepped in as my editor, and she's actually pretty incredible. But I wasn't thinking about how the two of them were supported by all my other clients, because I was busy on one side answering questions with Jack, and I didn't see the ways people were going up and hugging her daughter and saying how grateful they were that she got that message, because it was needed. But I remembered the message of her being in Shepherd Pratt and talking about her bedroom had just changed to Paris-themed stuff in the Eiffel Tower, and I understood why it was guided that way, just like with Tyler. So I just had to stop and say that to you, because I'm like, why am I thinking about St. Mary's Hospital? Like, why am I thinking about that? That's probably her way of trying to tell me she was okay. I also hear her saying to me, I know how hard that loss has been for them, and I know how hard it was for them to have to say goodbye to me, Kelly, and we didn't get the goodbyes we could have gotten. But she has heard the words that you have said to her since then, to understand it. She's also saying to me that they stepped in to keep her from suffering. I need you guys to know that. Please tell her I was at peace. They were there to take me. Tell them I didn't have fear, and they kept me from suffering. Do you understand it? Good. I just heard screeching tires. She's telling me she saved somebody from a car accident, or had to step in and save from a car accident. That could be friends or family. Do you understand it? I just hear she helped with a car accident that could have been a lot worse than what it was. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe
I-
her sisters, who knows?
I just keep hearing that she stepped in. I'm gonna leave that for you, okay? Because whether it's a fender bender or an accident doesn't happen, that could have taken somebody's life or it could have been serious, they'll step in sometimes and intervene.
Mm,
And I just heard screeching tires and she's like, Kelly, I had to step in and help so the accident wasn't as bad as it could have been. So that could be friends or family. She just keeps saying to me she's working as a safety angel for everybody. So she's definitely watching over the safety, especially her two daughters. Do you understand it? That's important. But do you hear the number 27?
When she passed away, she was 27.
That's how old she was.
They'll do that. They'll tell me how old they were. She's like, now say 27, and I said, I hear you. Baby. So sometimes they'll tell me how old they were. It's also her way of saying she had 27 years when she was here. That's important. Do you understand her? Just keep repeating she's sorry for how she left. Yeah. I also heard her mentioning and validating about, okay, she's giving a happy birthday for this month. That's important.
March?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has two sisters.
Both her sisters'
Good.
birthdays are
She's
this
like,
month.
tell them I love them and tell them happy birthday. She's saying she's not missing the birthdays. There's a happy birthday for June. She said I'll be there in June. Okay, somebody's hitting a milestone that can get into friends, so I'll leave that, okay? Because remember, friends can be older or younger. I just keep hearing she'll be there for the milestone in June. Did you guys make necklaces or have you thought about necklaces?
We've had a little bit of jewelry made, off
Okay,
and
good.
on friends, especially when it first happened, there was right much of it.
Good, I just keep hearing she knows. It's okay she's making me for the necklaces because I know that's just one piece. Do you understand it?
Yes,
Besides
we-
the rubber
We
bracelets.
have made jewelry, with her birthstone.
She knows, good.
Not
She's
the
saying-
locks of
she's
hair
saying
that
thank
we
you.
have.
We've had a lot.
Yeah. And then I keep hearing about adding charms or charms to the bracelets and adding charms in honor of her. So one or several people have done that in honor of other
Yes.
friends or family. She's like, how do you know about the charms that are done for me as well? So now we're getting into the
That's what
personal
she's
stuff
talking
like the cake and her saying she's 27 and
Well, we have little necklaces, I would say, that they're little glass like holders that have a little lock of her hair inside of
good,
Charms.
wonderful. She's happy about that. That means a lot to her. Keep going, honey. You're doing so great. I'm being told her footsteps should be heard in the house.
We think we hear footsteps in
It
the
is.
house.
It's her. She's like, tell them if they're hearing the footsteps, it's me. It's your daughter.
Downstairs.
Because she's all the time. She just said all the time. It's her.
Yes.
It's her way of letting you guys know she's
We
there
write
in
about
spirit.
it.
Well,
I'll
log
tell
that
you
in, that's
what,
weird. Log it in again.
She
What
said
time
it's
was it?
another
What
thing
day?
she has to
I'm
give you guys,
serious.
so she's here besides her saying 27, you make
A
it,
lot of times we're just like,
yeah.
Looking and nobody's there, the dog's looking,
Well, the dog sees her because animals are very open.
Yeah.
So watch the mannerisms of any animals you have because they're seeing her. Do you understand it? That's wonderful. Now, I'm still hoping to get his parents, but they really wanted to focus on your daughter. And then I got a little bit of piggybacking with your mom and dad. But
That's
they'll
good.
always give up for a
Thank you.
child. But I still want to get a little bit from Bob Revere, his dad, if I can, before I come into Frank and the sibling. But I'm still gonna have a couple more minutes with her. But I love some of the personal stuff she's given. So you just need to pass the messages to some of her friends, honey, because there's friends missing her as well. So I know there's 2 balloons released. Somebody's thought about the lanterns. And the lanterns can be something as simple as somebody's been wanting to go to a mass lantern release. And they know that she's going to be one of the people they're going to honor if they eventually release the lanterns.
Right.
So be open for that as well. She's so excited. Also, some of the names she gave me could have been people she worked with at St. Mary's, because you wouldn't know all those friends as well, like when I got Nicole and that other name too. So I'll leave that for you. She's excited. She keeps talking about wanting to be a mom. Do you understand that, honey?
That she wanted to be a mom?
Yeah, she just keeps saying to me about wanting to be a mom, and that's why she's going to be one of the angels for the baby, because she wants to help in that way. That's wonderful. When they tell me that a namesake's happened or somebody's thought about naming a baby after them, do you understand that?
Mhm.
Whether friends or family, it just means somebody's either named a baby after her first or middle name, or somebody's thought about it.
Okay.
So, share that, okay? Because that can even get into friends. And if it hasn't been done, it just means it'll eventually be done, even if somebody chooses her name as a middle name. She's saying to me it's a great honor, so it just means even if it hasn't been done, she knows it crossed somebody's mind or heart. And she's saying thank you. I hear watch for the monarch butterflies. Do you understand the monarch butterflies? She's like, watch for the monarchs. So I know that's another sign from her as well. She said she sends them often. And I hear about going to the beach to celebrate her life. Or the thought of it. Now, that might be something you share with her friends, honey, because it could be some of her friends did a beach trip.
Right.
And they like toasted her or had a drink or celebrated her, because we'll always hear those toasts as well. She just keeps saying to me she saw the beach trip and she knows how she was celebrated. So that'll be one that you have to pass, that probably her friends have to validate, and that's okay. She's saying the month of August. She said August is an important month. That just means there's several birth dates or anniversaries, whether friends or family. So I just hear her saying, I have a lot of celebrating in August. I'm like, okay, honey, I'll pass it. Because it doesn't mean your daughters might not understand that with some of her friends, especially if they know some of them. She's also given congratulations for an engagement, so somebody just got engaged or is about to.
Well, we did go to a bridal shower last weekend. A bridal shower last weekend we were at. I don't know if that would be it or not though.
If the marriage hasn't happened, she can be given the blessing for it.
Right, and it could be her sister really.
Yeah, I just keep hearing about the engagement, marriage, her giving the blessing. Good, wonderful. So she wants to honor that as well. Oh, did you hear about still saving the keys? Still having the sunglasses? They're rare things to keep. She's like, my keys and sunglasses are there. Did you guys make shadow boxes or have you thought about it? She's given the blessing about the shadow boxes.
I think we've got some boxes, you know, one at least.
There's two of them.
Two of them?
Okay. Yeah, shadow boxes, when you guys have those smaller things or if you're trying to hang stuff for display, she sees all that.
Yeah.
And then she's saying to me there will never be enough angels, and you guys have been doing a lot of stuff with angels. And then she's talking about adding angels to the Christmas tree. Did you guys do that?
Loads
How
of
you thought about
angels
it?
on the Christmas tree.
She's like, Kelly, talk about the angels on the tree. And she's saying to me, you're gonna grow so much with the angels and honor her on the tree. I feel like you might have to end up making a separate angel tree and honor her.
Okay.
So like, Kelly, they're gonna get so many angels, I'm gonna have my own tree. I'm like, okay, honey, I'll tell them. Because every year you're adding new angels for her.
It seems that way.
Please remember too, as you guys do those pieces, she's helping you pick them out. So trust the ones that you actually add, because she's probably guiding some of that and helping you to choose them from the other side, and she's there with you in spirit. That's wonderful. She is telling me she's been seen in spirit.
She's been seen in spirit. He's dreamt of her.
Whether,
You've dreamt.
okay, somebody has seen her. Please share
Really?
this.
Okay.
It could be one of her friends. It might take you some time. She's like, Kelly, I was seen once in spirit. And it doesn't have to be her fully. It could be somebody just like catching a glimpse of her.
Yeah.
Just catching her face, shoulders up. She just keeps saying to me she's been seen. I know you guys are capable of that at some point.
I wasn't sure.
Right,
I was
I
just
mean-
like my eyes were playing tricks.
Right, you always think, oh, yeah.
You know, it was just like
She's gonna do what she can to let you
the
know she's
wishful
there.
thinking I was thinking, you know. But-
And it's her trying to give you guys peace. She's trying to show herself to you guys. I just want you to be open to it, okay?
Oh, sure.
That's important. Do you understand the saying, I love you to the moon and back? Do you like say that to my parents, Kelly? It's wonderful. I'm going to stop for a minute because I can feel suicide. Anybody recognize that? It was so strong too. It's a gunshot. Please remember that can get in the older ancestors, even back in like 1800s sometimes,
My
to make those
grandmother's
decisions.
brother.
We'll take our time.
I've got one too,
Okay,
not persons.
that's okay.
Okay.
I just feel, it's a male. I can hear the gunshot going off, and I just know he made that choice, and I know he's been passed for some time. So I'm just gonna honor. He's not gonna take away from their daughter, me getting a little bit of time, anything else I can get from her mom and dad, or Beverly, before I come to you guys and get Frank and that sibling. But he just entered the room and I can feel him. Even if they go through that forgiveness stage, they can find peace and be on the other side, just like our other loved ones. And I just know he's been passed for some time, and that peace has been found. And so many people have a misconception that if somebody makes that decision that they can't get that forgiveness or have that peace as well, and they absolutely can. And I always use this as an example. I've had several parents who have lost young children that have chosen to take their life. My youngest one was 11, but I've had 14 and 15-year-olds make those decisions, and I've helped their parents through those connections. God is not turning those children away when they don't even have the emotional maturity to make those decisions to begin with. Do you understand it? So I just know he's here. I just saw him in their space. I can hear the gunshot going off. We're still going to spend a little bit more time with their daughter. I'm hoping to get a little bit of time with his mom, Beverly. I love all the time I've gotten with your mom and dad. I thought they were just going to flood me. But as soon as your dad's like, tell them I'm soul assigned and I have the oldest, they had to make sure she just walked right in. Because it's really about your daughter today. Because that's like that big soul you guys were waiting for.
Right.
So it's okay if your parents give up for her or only get 2 or 3 of them or little messages.
It's the first time we've ever, had a reading with her.
Yeah, so that's what it's about. But I love she told me she was 27. I also hear this mention about, I do hear the month of September. She keeps saying September, Kelly.
See, knows that's a bad month. That's the month she passed away
I
too.
know.
Mhm.
She's like September.
Yeah.
It just means that's the month that she gives you guys the most comfort. She wanted to make me feel that because it's one of her soul dates. And she said she's always there to give you guys peace. Do you understand it?
Yeah.
She said before September 1st even comes, they're not looking forward to that month.
No, we were that way before she passed. She's made the comment, it's not a good month, Mom, because it seemed like we were going to get our doctor's appointments and we were getting maybe having to go back for a procedure or whatever. It was a scary month, and for many reasons it just was a bad month.
You understand it?
Yeah.
I also hear her mentioning to me about still having writing in the journal or the diary, and she's talking about reading through that. Not a lot of people keep that. Not a lot of people actually write journals or diaries. I know you guys still have it, and she's talking about reading through it and going back through some of that writing that she left behind. That's fantastic validation. That's really great. So she just sees that you guys have done that as well in her honor. That's wonderful. I love that so much. Keep going, honey. They're telling me she has a few minutes of energy left with her. I will tell you, I actually started a special page. It's called Readings by Kelly Messages of Hope. And I was hoping to start it in September, but COVID happened. I had to take a lot of people in my winter and spring and move them back into the fall and winter, and like everybody got shifted around with COVID, and a lot of my people that were waiting 2 years to see me waited an extra 6 months to a year so I could see them privately instead of Zoom, so they chose to wait, even though Zoom's the exact same thing. But then Jeff and I got COVID in November. And then a couple weeks ago, I got diagnosed with a really rare autoimmune disease. So we've been shuffling stuff because of that, and some of my doctor's appointments and stuff I have to do now with physical therapy and everything else, and my eyesight. So I've had to push it back. I'm going to start it in June, so you guys can join that page if you want. So it's called Readings by Kelly, just like my Facebook page, but then it's just followed by the words Messages of Hope. And so I'm going to start it in June. It's for parents and grandparents who have lost children. I have some parents who have lost several children. And then I'm just going to get on like once every couple weeks and just pass messages for you guys. And then you can see if she has a chance to come through again a little bit. Maybe I can get some more information from her. But I won't be able to start it until June. I had to push it back, unfortunately, just with everything going on. And how crazy my schedule is. All right, I'm gonna get a couple more minutes with her. I'm so happy I'm getting her. I love she said 27 and the cake and the bracelets and some of the jewelry pieces, and now you know why you're hearing the footsteps, which is
Right.
wonderful.
It's reassuring.
Yeah,
We
it
were
is.
starting to freak out.
No, it's just her. Just like, who was it earlier your dad, the electricity's just
Yeah.
me, don't be scared, because they
You
just
kind
want
of
you
think it
guys,
is, but then you're
Yeah.
always
Oh, yeah.
like, maybe not, I don't know.
but they
Yeah.
just want to give you guys that peace that it's
Right.
them, and that's okay. But I have a feeling you guys were wondering if it was her, wondering who it was, so it's just her way of trying to let you know it's her.
It's
and
even
that's
been vocal.
okay.
It's been vocal in the house.
Yeah,
When we found out Sarah was pregnant,
Yes,
she was laying in the
I mean,
bed
I
in the master
screamed, like,
bedroom, and I was sitting on the couch in the living
me.
room.
not, you couldn't
And all of a
but it
sudden,
was
we
like,
just heard this,
What?
woo-hoo!
"Whoa."
I'm not lying, and
Like that.
we both went, what the
I was in
hell
another
that?
room, he was in there, I mean,
That's
we're
And
going
it was
like
when we
ritual.
found out
You know?
that Sarah was
That's
expecting.
awesome.
Yeah, it was soon after that, and he's like, did you?
That jumped out of my skin.
Yeah,
Yeah, just trust it, honey. Just
Yeah.
trust it. You know, because she's not the only one in your house. Both your moms are there, your dads are there. They have her. I know it's so hard for you guys not to have her, and I know you miss her every day. But I know the only thing that's giving you guys comfort is knowing that they have her, and
Right.
that she's with your parents, and you know that she's in good hands because they're taking care of her, and you guys have a chance to have a connection again. But I love that they're validating that. I also heard this mentioned, let me listen to anything else I can get from her really quick. I also heard this mention of validation and acknowledgement about, your mom is laughing, saying, that was a fun moment. Rita,
Rita,
saying that was a fun moment.
oh yeah,
Like, 'cause they were obviously all there in spirit when you guys heard that.
that yell.
So she's saying she loved watching your faces, answering back,
Okay,
which is so great.
sometimes you feel like you're the joke, don't you?
I hear about adding the lilies to the garden.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Your daughter's talking to me about adding lilies to the
Lilies.
garden.
they're in there, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
saying the lilies are beautiful. Did you guys do them in honor as well?
We set
Kind
up,
of
when
stuff
Lauren
off
passed
and all.
away, we set up a big
She knows.
flower garden for her
Yes.
with a little memorial in
She
there.
knows. She's saying that she sees all of that. She said she loves the lilies in the garden. She loves that you guys added lilies to it. She said they're her favorite flower in the garden.
Mhm.
That's wonderful. Don't be surprised if you guys are excited to add more. And did you put stepping stones, or have you thought about the stepping stones? Because she's mentioning stepping stones.
Well, there's stepping stones we have for each one of the daughters, that they made their own
When they
stepping
were
stones
children
in
and they're
the
out
front,
there.
in the front garden.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's still a piece. If they made their own, then you have that handcrafted in honor of her. And she's talking
Mhm.
about the stepping stones because you have one of the three of them.
Mhm.
Whether it's in front of the garden or a different part of the land, she has to make me feel that you have those stepping stones because one of them honors her and honors the connection with her siblings.
Right.
That's fantastic. She's like mentioned stepping stones, and I said, I hear you. Yeah, the CDs with the pictures and the music, I'm being told will get claimed. It's gonna take some time for you guys to figure out because I could send the friends along with someone releasing the lanterns, so that'll take time. But I know you guys understood all the personal stuff, so I'm gonna get anything else I can from her. Because my guys are saying to me, her energy's getting a little depleted, but she's done wonderful. I keep hearing the word murder. Okay, I'm gonna leave that. I just know somebody just walked in and their life was taken by somebody else. I'm gonna leave that. Please remember, it could be a message for you guys to pass to somebody else, because I know that I'm gonna come over there in a couple minutes. So it might be some piggybacking of messages for you guys to pass to other people. And they keep talking to me about cancer. Do you understand the cancer connection for me?
Really?
Your mother.
My mom had cancer.
It's not the brain cancer, it's something else.
Well, both of my parents died from cancer.
Okay, because Beverly's still her honey, and I just got flooded.
Yeah,
I feel
they
sick.
both his parents.
And your dad talked to me about the Pomeranian embolism because you guys didn't have the answer. They already talked to me about the brain stuff because your mom had brain cancer. Beverly's still here, but I'm still working with Lauren, they still want me to have a chance to read the two of them. And then I just got sick to my stomach and I can feel the cancer moving through my body. So it's your mom Beverly trying to tell me what happened with her. Do you understand it?
It happened with her and my father.
Yeah. And everybody called her Bev.
Right.
Because I called her Bev. Good.
Yeah.
So she's here. Good. I do hear, because you're so open in dream state and you've had those visitations with her, that you're gonna get her and your mom Bev together. Now that you guys have done this communication, your mom's saying to me you're gonna start to dream about her and Lauren together. And you're gonna get both of them in dream state coming together. So that'll be exciting for you guys.
Okay.
She's also given the blessing about creating the ring. Did you guys create a ring or have thought about it? Okay, somebody's thought about it, so please
A
just
ring?
ask- Yeah. It's coming
But
from.
that's
God.
kind of funny because
Yeah.
my sister just called me about my grandmother's ring
Mhm.
about, I don't know,
When
could
I-
have been what,
When I
a week ago?
When I feel about creating a ring or doing one in honor, that doesn't always have to be that it's fully created from scratch. It can be that changes are being made, somebody's gonna replace stones, add stones, change it. It just means the blessing's there.
It was just, my sister called me about forwarding it to one of the grandchildren and what our feelings were about it, and it was like, go right ahead, you
Yeah,
know?
your mom's given the
Want
blessing
it
for
to
it.
be passed down.
It is okay, because I heard both your grandmothers,
Mhm.
okay, because both your grandmothers are behind your mom. They're saying to me they're happy it's still in the family, and they're giving the blessing because they know when it gets passed to the younger generations, whether it's that younger generation, the younger generation below them as they pass it, that changes are gonna be made. So it's just their way of saying it's
Okay.
okay if it's changed, as long as it stays within the family,
That's
because
weird,
they're saying
because that
it's
call just
so
happened
old.
last week.
That's wonderful. So please know your mom Beverly, because it's your side of the family, and your grandmothers are giving the blessing to go forward with that. Because it would have went from them to her to you. Do you understand it? So it was passed on from your grandmother to your mom and to your hands, and now you're passing it to the family, especially since that call just happened. It's wonderful validation. Your dad sends eagles, I want you to pay attention to those.
That's it.
Eagles, your
He's like, I
dad.
send eagles all the time.
Mhm.
Watch for those. You know how you would have like old garages or old sheds, and then some of these older generations would put like all their nuts and bolts and like coffee cans and smell like rust? Do you understand that with your dad?
Yes,
So
I
like
do.
Q comes through smelling
Because
like
I've
a
got-
rusty coffee can with nuts and bolts. But he smells like that. Do you understand that too?
I do, 100%,
This whole
I
room
do.
smells like that. Do you understand that with Frank as well? Okay. It's his dad, but there's some piggybacking, but it is so strong. And your dad's going, me too. Do you understand it?
Mhm.
Do you still have some of that?
Well, I've got my dad's, well, first when my dad
So
passed
funny.
away, I took his tool, you know, a lot of people were going for the valuable
Stuff.
stuff.
And you want the personal
Yeah.
I wanted personal stuff.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I've
the
got
same
his
way.
tool belt, and I took the stuff off of his workbench that had each of the individual drawers that held all the nuts and bolts and washers
Right.
and stuff like that.
You understand it?
And I've got all that.
Yeah. Because
And-
he's saying to me before he had that organization, he used to put it in an old like Folgers coffee can.
Oh, he did, there were a
Yeah.
few of those too.
You understand it?
I
And
sure
everything
did.
smelled like that rusty coffee can smell. We can almost smell the coffee, the rust.
It's a junk
And then I
can.
just started to see the nuts and bolts, and
When you
that's
had
what
an
he
extra
smells
nut or
like.
bolt, you threw it in the coffee
Okay.
can.
Eagles are a rare sign. You're not going to see them often, so it's okay. I'm only getting a little bit from your mom and dad because they really wanted to be about your daughter. But I love that I'm getting 5 people for you, a little bit from your parents. But it's really your daughter's your big person, and that's okay. But be patient because they could tell me hundreds of stories. You understand talking about like working for like the gas and electric company? Or somebody working for the gas
My
and electric
dad
company?
did, well, after he retired from one job, and then after he retired, he took another job and he was working for BG&E.
Yeah, gas and electric, fantastic, they'll do that. He just keeps saying to me, I think part of the reason he's making me feel that is because it was his career piece, even if it was in some of those later years. Because it's his way of saying he had to do stuff because he couldn't just sit still.
And I always appreciate it. My mother was deaf, and she was a housewife. They had 5 children, so my dad always worked 2 jobs,
You understand it?
you know?
He keeps just talking to me about working for the gas and electric company and how proud he was of that job. So he was proud of himself that he could still keep going to do things, to make sure that you guys were taken care of.
He worked hard.
And that's wonderful validation. I can feel colon cancer and pancreatic cancer.
No, he died from, oh,
It's not mom or dad, it just means they're not the only two that had cancer complications, and it went back
oh,
through the
that might
history.
have been Dave, my brother-in-law.
Good. Somebody had colon cancer, somebody had pancreatic cancer. It just means even back through, even if it's a couple generations up, you guys
we gotta
have that
keep
real
it
strong
genetic.
connection, where there's several people back through the history that have cancer, so I have to feel that as well.
Good, okay,
So
now keep
just,
an eye.
I know you guys will, yeah, it's just about keeping the check, letting the girls know that there's a strong family history with cancer. I just know that there was colon and pancreatic back through the history, because I can feel it, and it's not your mom and dad, because Beverly already made me feel the cancer. Whew. Kinda know I was only gonna have a chance to stay for a couple minutes, but there was a couple things I was able to tell my parents. I know there's friends missing me as well, so I was trying to include everybody with my first time through. But I'm happy for your help and time. I know we have a little bit of time left, and I want everybody to have a chance to have a message. But I'm hoping that I have a chance to talk to them again. Please tell them that I'm with them every day that I can be. There's other people I'm checking in when, so I visit as often as possible. Let them know how much I love them. I really did have the best family, and they were the greatest parents for me when I was there. Tell them I can hear everything they say to me, and I still see that my mom prays for me almost every day. Tell them I love them. There
Thank
she goes.
you.
She did great though, honey.
Mhm.
I wish I had more time with her, but that's okay. She did wonderful. Now, I'll wait and see if I get a little bit more from Beverly or your dad, but I love your dad talking to me about the Eagles. That's great, and just some of those little small things that that you kept for him. I also hear, listen, if you heard the name Bobby, I'm just gonna honor that.
That's my
Nephew.
mother's brother, Bob.
Yeah, I heard Kelly call me Bobby. Good, he's here, he just walked in. See, he's right behind your mom and dad. He's like, I'm here too. Do you understand it? But if everybody called him Bobby or your mom called him Bobby, that's
Mhm.
wonderful validation. Please also note, even though your mom, did she use a lot of sign language for communication?
No, she read lips pretty
Okay,
much. She was
good.
like 3/4 of the way deaf. She
Good.
could,
She just keeps saying to me, please know that she doesn't have that anymore. And that doesn't hold her back on the other side, because you have to know she's completely whole and
That's good.
complete there. Not that she wasn't a complete person here, I know she struggled with it, but it's her way of saying that that's gone now. She wants you to know that, that's important.
it affected her speech and everything. you know,
Yeah.
so.
I hear her also validating and acknowledging to me. Do you guys understand the old embroidered pillowcases?
Mhm.
I'm just getting them
Remember she had
images
that
in front of you.
An astrology book.
No,
Do you understand?
that would be.
Do you understand the old embroidered pillowcases, honey?
Mm.
I just know that's part of the linens, or somebody still has those as well.
Okay.
Remember, your grandmother has several different pieces of linens passed down the
Yeah.
family besides the ones I got for you and the old handkerchiefs and stuff. Do you understand it? So I'll leave that for you, okay? Because I keep hearing about the embroidered pillowcases as well. And then there's a mention of the old colored candy dish, like it's different colors. And somebody still has that too. So again, another old piece
Could be
from
her
your grandmother.
daughters. Mhm.
Ask about that as well, because it's so rare. Yeah, it's like different, the top part is clear, and then it's like this edged, like crystal, and then halfway down the bottom it's clear, and then it's like, got this like dark bright red. Like this much of the candy dish on the bottom is red, I can see it clear as day. So I was just like, just show it to me so I can explain it. Somebody still has that piece in the family, even if it gets in the cousins. Somebody has it, they're grateful for that. Your dad's cancer was very fast and progressive, because they're telling me. Your dad's cancer was fast and progressive.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. It
Yeah.
was pretty quick.
Because it's just his way of saying by the time he found out, he only had a short period of time with you guys, and they're telling me it was very fast and progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear that. And then he's like, Kelly, in the end, they couldn't do anything for me. So I just accepted every day for what I had and what I could do. Do you understand him saying that? Wonderful. That's great. All right, I can hear Frank starting to talk, so we might start going back and forth with you guys. So let's see where this goes. And there's people lined up behind Joyce and Joanne, and I know you're hoping for a sibling, but I just got flooded with cancer and I can feel a heart attack. Do you understand that?
That could be 2 people.
Okay, we'll take our time with it because there's all kinds of people lining up.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take our time. 7.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I'm gonna get all of them,
No.
especially if you're hoping for a sibling. But as everybody walked in, I could just feel the cancer, and then I heard there was a massive heart attack, and it was instant, and somebody was gone within seconds. Do you understand it? So we'll take our time with it, okay?
Okay.
Because remember, that could be an older ancestor too.
Okay.
Okay, let me come to her dad for a little bit, and we'll see who's in your line. I'll see her Eleanor. If anybody recognizes Eleanor, I can hear that. She just walked in. There's a lady by the name of Geraldine. She would have went with Jerry. Can hear her. There's a gentleman telling me to call him Hank. That's unusual. I don't hear that often. They could be ancestors for anybody in the room. Nicholas, if anybody recognizes that name. I hear the name Christopher. I hear the name Edward, if anybody recognizes Edward.
I do.
How do you recognize Edward, honey?
My cousin.
Good, I heard, hi Kelly, I'm Edward. And I want to call him like Ed or Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Good, so he's in that line of 7. Good.
Okay.
He's hanging out with your aunts.
No.
So he's back there with Joanne and Joyce, okay? Because he falls in aunts and uncles and cousins. How do you recognize the cancer, honey?
Joyce.
Good, good, because they're all right there. And I just felt the cancer as I watched him walk and stand beside them. So I just knew one of those aunts had cancer. Good. So he's here. He's like, call me Eddie. Earl, if anybody recognizes Earl, I can hear that name. I hear the name Pat, if anybody recognizes Pat.
I have Pat.
Okay, good. So I just hear Pat's here still supporting. I hear the name Denise. That's rare, I don't get that often. She's friends with someone that somebody knows in this room, so I'm just gonna honor her, because she passed just before the age of 60, and it was an unexpected passing. So she might belong to someone even, someone that you guys are connected through with work, so I'm just gonna honor that. I love the piggybacking breath smell with your dad, Frank. It's all okay, even though most of it was from his dad. As soon as my guys are like, look over here, because it's coming from this direction, you're like, I get it too. Do you understand it? Good. Your dad saying to me he would keep anything that he needed because you never knew when you were going to need it, and he needed to make sure he had it in case he did. Do you understand him saying that? That's wonderful validation. Do you understand the diabetes issues, circulatory issues, problems with diabetes, going into cardio issues, chest complications?
Congestive heart failure.
Yeah, good. I know he had heart issues, but somebody right now, it's a situation the family's watching over. So I know he has heart issues because I felt it earlier. Somebody's having diabetes issues, not listening with their blood sugar. I can feel the blood sugars are going between 300 and 400, so there's some concern from the other side. I can feel circulatory issues, neuropathy damage, nerve issues, and they're starting into cardio issues or heart issues now because they're not listening. But please remember that can get into aunts and uncles and cousins. I just hear the family has an eye on it, and your dad just wanted to make sure I heard it, because I can feel grandparents behind him, okay? And I just hear it's a health concern that they're watching over, and they just want you guys to know that they're watching over and that they see. So it's just something that they're helping with, okay? As you share that, somebody's gonna probably understand it. Whether the heart issues have been diagnosed or they're just minor stuff that they're starting to see, somebody let the diabetes affect their heart because they're not listening. And I just know the blood sugars are hitting pretty high levels and there's concern from the other side. He just keeps saying heart disease to me though. Do you understand? Okay. I just know that person is gonna end up with some complications and some heart disease. They can't like fix it or try to get those blood sugars a little bit more stable. So they're trying to help them before it gets into a worse situation. That's all it's about.
Good to know.
Good, so I'll leave that for you, because I can get in the presence, honey. But they'll always watch over those health issues or try to help in any way they can. That's important. I'm like, Eddie, I'm gonna pass messages now. He's just talking so loud, and I'm like, honey, I can hear you over everybody else. Do
Okay,
you understand that with his personality?
kind of,
Okay,
yeah,
he's just excited.
yeah.
They're just having a loud conversation, and I'm like, I gotta concentrate
That
on
would be
Frank.
the Ashby, yeah,
But
side,
you
yeah.
understand it, they're just all back there talking. As long as you understand it, honey. Because it kind of caught me off guard, and it's a little bit unexpected. But I'm like, shh. Okay, there's a happy early birthday for April. That's important.
My one daughter, yeah.
Your dad showed me huge angel wings. He's saying to me he's an angel for her. Even if you have several children, honey, they'll tell me where the soul assignment is. And he's like, I'm watching over her. And I felt huge angel wings. He's like, I'll be there in a couple weeks for that birthday. Do you understand it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand the number 14, honey? He just said 14 to me.
14?
Mm-hmm. It can be birthday, anniversary. I'll leave that because it can go through the family because all the blessings are going to come from him and your grandparents. And they're saying to me about being there on the 14th, so I'll leave that because I can get in the cousins and the children as well. I also heard this mention about adopting a new animal or adopting a new dog. Do you understand that?
I have in the past.
No, somebody's in the process of making the decision now.
Oh.
I'll leave that for you because I know somebody's gonna claim it, I just know they're helping with it. Anytime you guys welcome a new animal into your life, a lot of times there's ancestors or family members that help you, so you can get the animals you're gonna have the strongest soul bond with. So I'll leave that for you because somebody's gonna be like, I know why they said that to me. Because it could be that they're in the process of getting an animal, or there's one they're very soul bonded with that they're gonna get soon, or they're guided to like a certain breed. That's okay. There's a happy 54th. I hear them doing a happy 54th.
54?
And a happy 61st.
Could be an anniversary.
Okay, that, because it can be anniversaries or birthdays. So I just hear them saying to me they're celebrating the 54th and 61st, so I know that that'll make sense later. There's a happy belated birthday for November. That's important.
November?
That's coming from your grandmother, so it gets in the cousins, honey, okay? I also hear that somebody's been talking about renewing vows.
Oh.
So I just hear that they hear the conversations that there's gonna be a vow renewal, and they're excited if it's chosen. So I need to leave that with you. I'm getting all the family blessings before we get personal with your dad, no worries. Your grandmother's so excited. She's like, I have so many people to talk to, because she's been there for a while, do you
Okay.
understand it? So we'll take our time with it. But I hear they wanna get the family blessings out of the way. But I hear somebody's having conversations about the vow renewal, and they're trying to make a decision if they're gonna have a vow renewal, and they're excited and they're saying they're gonna be there in spirit if it's chosen. So that'll make sense later, okay? And the more you share it, people are gonna be able to claim some of this. So I know the diabetes, even if that person's stubborn, they better claim it. Because I want them to take it serious so it doesn't go into full heart disease. Because I already know there's some cardio issues going on, whether it's been caught or they're seeing it from the other side. Do you understand it? That's important. I hear about riding motorcycles. Okay, Somebody's getting one. They just started a motorcycle and I heard, he chooses to get that, we're gonna have to watch over his safety, that's all I heard, so I know it's a male through the family. Somebody's in the process of making that decision.
Got a lot of things to remember.
Huh?
I've got a lot of things
You
to
have
remember.
a lot. I just keep hearing somebody's in the process of buying a motorcycle, they'll be watching over him, so I know it's a male in the family. Interesting. Your dad's telling me when your dad was telling me that even if he's watching over all the children, he's got soul assignment with your daughter and he was giving her a happy early birthday for April. I don't get this sign very often, but he's like, hard to watch for the praying mantis, it's one of the ways I come through. That's rare.
That's cool.
That's gonna be his directional sign, he's like, tell her she needs to watch for the praying mantis, it's one of the ways I'm gonna come through, and I said, I hear you.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Do you understand
That's
your dad saying to me that he was back and forth with his health? He knows he could have done a better job, but he was trying. Do you understand him saying that?
That he was?
That he was trying. He's like, I was back and forth with my health, I know I could have done a better job, but I was trying.
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Honey, you have to remember, that's just his perception from the other side to try to let you know that he was trying, even if he didn't always show it. Do you understand it? That's all it's about. So I just want to make sure I'm able to honor that for you. I do hear about holding on to the coat. Do you understand the old flannels or having the flannels?
Flannels?
Somebody has flannels.
I kind of remember things like that, like pajamas maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I just keep hearing somebody still has old flannel material in honor. And remember, it could be something that he gifted as well. He's like, the flannel's still there, and I just started to see the pattern. So I'll leave that for you, honey, okay? There's a reason why he gave me that. Do you understand him saying to me he wishes he could have stayed longer as a dad?
Well, he passed, he was 86.
But it just means he was aiming for 2 digits. Before you even said 86, he's like, Kelly, I was trying to hit 3 digits. He was already saying it. So if that was a joke, or he always wondered if he'd have a chance to get close to 100, that's what it's about.
Well, a couple of his sisters made it that long.
That's why. So it can be family teasing and family jokes. Do you understand it? Even if it's from the other side. And he's like, I was always aiming for 3 digits. So if some of them made it to 100 or over, that's what it's about. Do you understand it? He's like, I didn't get into the 3-digit club, but I was happy for the time I was there. That's what it is. So there's some light teasing. I love when they use that sense of humor, so I'm laughing at him. How long has he been gone for, honey?
20 years last month.
They're telling me. I know it's 2 decades. That's fantastic. Because he's like, Kelly, I just celebrated 20 years. So they're telling me he just celebrated 2 decades because that was just a couple weeks ago. He said, I know how hard that milestone was for them. That's fantastic validation. So now we'll get into the personal stuff. That was just like that first big thing I got from him. The joking about almost turning 100 and him being gone 20 years, which is great. He's a sweet soul. He said, all that Y2K stuff, I never knew what was going to happen. I didn't trust it anyway, but I made it past that year. I was happy. So I'm like, who talks about that? I've been doing this 9.5 years. No one's ever brought up Y2K. It passed like just after that. So
I
we only had
remember
a chance
that.
to see a little bit of that first
It's a big
decade, and
deal.
then he's watched it from the other
Yeah,
side.
it was.
That's what it's about. Do you
Yep.
understand it? He's funny. I want to watch old westerns in the news. Do you understand it? I just started to see John Wayne and all these old westerns, and then I feel like I'm watching the news at the same time. They were like the 2 biggest things on the TV. Do you
Gunsmoke.
understand it?
Yeah,
Wonderful. I love that so
we
much.
always watched those.
Huh?
We always watched westerns.
Like old westerns. He's like, Kelly, if westerns weren't on the TV, I was watching the news. Do you understand it? So if that's one of those old memories, that's really fantastic. He's talking about still, he actually had old VCRs and old westerns taped, and there were still VCRs here when he passed, like VCR tapes. And that could even be something he gave to the family or friends, something you guys found after the passing or both. But he's talking about even taping some of them, with some of the tapes being left behind, so that's great validation. He's fun. This is where I don't get this often, but he's talking about saving the old belts or having one of the old belts saved.
A belt?
Yeah, a belt. Like belt buckle, both, I hear that.
There could have been some of those.
Okay,
like,
please
you know,
ask about that. Because remember, that could be, I always try to remind people, it doesn't have to be stuff that's separated after the passing. Sometimes we're starting to give away stuff early, and then people put it in their closet or put it away, and then they're reminded that they have that in honor. So I just know somebody has that for Frank. It's rare, I don't get
maybe
those
my
often.
sister, I don't know.
Yeah, just ask about it. Because it could even be something that he passed on in younger generations as well, in the family. So many people start to give stuff away early before you guys ever get to that point of having it separated after they transition. So it might take some time to figure that out, but I do know somebody has it. And somebody has a rare old money clip or money clip. And then wallet pieces or the ID.
Could be a couple of my nephews.
Yeah, just ask about that.
Yeah.
Because I just keep hearing him say that some of that is still here as well. Somebody also has one of the timepieces or watches. Because he's saying to me the watch and timepiece is here. So he would understand that. He said he's happy that the watch is kept. So that's wonderful validation.
Yeah, I do remember watch.
Good, so he's really happy about that. There's also a happy 70th.
70th?
Remember, that can get into cousins and other people, so honor that.
Could be a cousin.
Good.
Got a
I just hear the family celebrating the 70th, so that's okay. No worries. Listen, they're doing great. My guys are like, we're gonna have a little bit of time with them because we still wanna get another soul or two, and I'm like, I know, I can feel them getting depleted. We went from 170 souls down to around 25, that's how many people lost their energy already. So usually when they give me that warning of about 20 people, I could have 20 minutes or I could have a half hour or more. So they're just gonna do everything they can with the energy they have left.
That's good for you.
Me listen. I want you to watch for the dimes, honey. I don't get that often. It's not always pennies from heaven. Do you ever see the dimes at all?
Did do what?
Do you ever see dimes?
Yeah.
Your dad's like, I've been sending dimes. Tell her to pay attention.
Yeah, I did find a few the other day.
It's not always, that's why. They'll do that. They'll send you signs just before they know that they're gonna do the communication with me, and he's like, tell her to watch for the dimes, it's one of my signs. Good, especially if you just found them a few days ago. It doesn't always have to be pennies from heaven, they can do nickels, dimes, or quarters, and he's like, tell her the dimes are me. That's wonderful. Good, so just know. Plus, if you just found them a couple days ago, he sent that because he knew he would be able to give you the validation, and now you'll have a chance to be more open to seeing them. And it's a sign he's going to continue to use for many years, is what I hear. So that's great. He just said, I always did everything I could to love her. They're also giving a happy 40th. Not to be birthday or anniversary, but they're giving a happy 40th. You should understand the 40th. He's telling me you should understand that one, so you'll probably have the light bulb
Could be
moment
a
about
cousin,
that.
I don't know.
You'll probably have the light bulb moment about that later, honey, that's okay. But you guys still have a pretty big family here, is what I hear. He's like, Kelly, the family's big. Do you understand it? Okay. Everything smells like spaghetti sauce and garlic bread. Do you have Italian history back one side or both sides of the family?
Did you?
Italian.
Yes.
That's why. I'm like, who smells like homemade sauce and garlic bread back there? Good, and there's all these Italians lining up.
That's funny, isn't that? That's wild.
Yeah, they'll do that. They'll make me feel that history. Like sometimes I might get, okay, your bloodline's this, this, and this. And then I'll even have them tell me like if somebody's Irish or there's Irish family history, and if it goes back all the way into Ireland, and if there was like a family Irish crest that the younger generations don't know about, and then they'll make me feel like how many generations back it was created, so they can find it through the history and then copy it and share it in the younger generations. But there's all this Italian heritage back. Do you understand it? I also just heard the name Giovanni. Do you recognize that name at all? Even if it goes way back through the history, I heard the name Giovanni. Very weird.
Not,
Okay, you guys will eventually find that
Did you-
because it goes back into that Italian history, okay? 'Cause I can just-
I mean, very well could be, but I'd
Yeah.
have to research.
It's all okay. You'll eventually find that soul. I just know he's here because I can hear him talking back there with all those like older Italian ancestors, so I know it's back through the history somewhere, which is wonderful. I also hear your dad acknowledging to me about still having the mantelpiece, or still keeping the mantelpiece. That doesn't always have to get into mantle clocks. It could be something that was kept on the mantle, even if it came from the generation above him, and then there's still a mantelpiece within the family. But they're telling me they're happy that the mantelpiece is still here, so I'll leave that for you, because I know that that might have to get claimed through the family. That's okay. And I hear about adding horses, so they thought about adding horses.
Horses?
Yeah.
I would love that.
She's telling me to tell you it's never too late to have horses. Have you thought about doing that?
I mean, I don't know where to put them.
But is it something you've always wanted?
Uh-huh.
That's why. Whether you eventually have land to have them on your land, or even if you stable them nearby and you still have a chance to spend time with them and ride them, it's just his way of saying he knows that you still have that wish on your heart. And he's like, if she ever has a chance to get horses, she should. So if it's something you've been thinking about for a while,
I mean, I've always loved horses.
I know, that's what it's about.
I was horse crazy when I was a kid.
I think that's why he's saying it, honey, because he has those memories with you. Do you understand it? Because he's like, it's never too late for her to get horses. And I'm like, all right, I'll pass it to her. If he comes through talking about horses. But that happens. That's wonderful validation. I want to have horses too, but I don't know if I will never be home enough to even have the time to even take care of them. But maybe when I get older at some point. But I've always wanted to have horses. And look, I've had these names picked out for probably 8 years, well before the Disney movie came out, and I've always wanted to have 2 horses, one called Spirit, one called Journey. And then sure enough, the Disney movie came out and they called it Spirit, and I'm like, look, I had that idea years ago. Well, you guys took it. But those are the names, if I ever have a chance to have horses, I would like one called Journey and one called Spirit. But he's like, tell her she could have horses if she chooses to. So I just know.
Now he tells me.
Huh?
Now he tells me, right?
Not when he couldn't have bought you one.
Look, that also might be something that now that he sees how much you love them, that he wishes he could have given them to you. And he wants you to have it for yourself if you ever choose. So it could be some guidance there where he ends up guiding you into a certain circumstance or situation where somebody has a situation where they can't keep a horse, and that's already been trained or is trainable, that you could step into, even if it's at a stable or close by the house, you could at least have that bonding. And you might end up feeling him pretty strong in this moment, so trust it, if it's something you ever grow into. I think it's just his way of saying the door isn't closed, and don't close the door on that opportunity yet, because you could have a soul bond with them. Do you understand it? Good, that's all it's about. I love that validation, that's wonderful. He's like, she just needs to save her pennies because she's going to need a lot of apples. I'm like, who says that? I think he's talking about feeding the horses.
Yes.
I just saw him lining up like red delicious
Tell him to
apples
send more
in front of
dimes,
me.
I'm gonna need it.
Yeah. He's like, Callie, I'll have to send them in wheelbarrows. He's teasing. I love that so much. He's fun. I hear about the separation or divorce. Do you understand it?
Guilty.
Was that not that long ago, honey?
Let's see, 06, so.
Okay. He just keeps saying to me it happened within 5 years of his passing.
Well, yeah.
He's telling me, he's like, Kelly, it happened right after I passed. I said, how long? He said, within 5 years. So I know it's 5 years or less.
Mhm.
And he's like, talk about separation, divorce, and he's telling me he's proud of you.
Did he what?
He's proud of you.
He's proud of you.
Oh, yeah, probably, yeah.
He's saying to me he's happy for you. He sees how your life has changed. He said even though it was difficult, it was a good thing, and that he's helped you through everything. Do you understand it? And then I had to feel it was in 5 years after he passed. That's great validation.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it happened within a couple years after he transitioned to the other side. whether you realized it or not, he said he was by your side, he gave you strength, and I know that he was your biggest supporter helping you through the transition of going through the separation and divorce. So it's his way of saying he was still your dad and you weren't alone through any of that. So it's his way of saying he's that person that gives you strength. That hasn't changed, honey.
Good to know.
Do you understand it? So it's just his way of saying he can shoulder anything from the other side. He's always going to be that person for you, and he wants you to, if you're struggling or if you need that strength, he's that person to go to. And that's where that bond needs to be. But he's saying to me, he knows it wasn't easy. He's saying to me, he knows how hard that was for you. But he's also saying to me, he watched over the whole situation and that he got in and helped you through it. That's wonderful. It's very private and personal, so he had to make me feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with him just hitting 20 years, I had here, it was within the first 5 years of his transition, so I know it happened within the first couple years after his passing. But he was strong enough to give that guidance and that help. And I can feel broken trust. Do you understand it?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that there was broken trust in the relationship. Okay. The situations aren't always easy, but he's saying to me, the healthiest decision was made, and that he's happy for where you are now. And he's saying to me, you've grown a lot since that situation. And so that's why he kept saying he's proud of you. So that's wonderful. This is the private stuff I was waiting for. Because only you would know how far you've grown, but he sees that from the other side. Do you understand it? It's really what it's about. He's so sweet. He's got some stubbornness with him though. Do you understand it? Sometimes that's just old school, very set in his ways. It doesn't have to be like stubborn personality. That usually means stubborn, set in their ways, very old school. Do you understand it? Good.
Gee.
No comment.
You know what he said? He said, I lined up the apples for the reason, because sometimes they don't fall far from the tree, Kelly. And he's
Oh
going
my
to her.
My
You
kids call
understand
me
it?
Frank.
Huh?
My kids call me Frank.
That's why. He said that's why he was joking about the apples to the horses, and then he's like, the apple doesn't fall far, Kelly. So he watched her touch you, and he goes, that's why I gave the apples. The tree's close. Do you understand it? So if they call you your dad's name, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. He said a little light teasing won't hurt anybody. That's what he just said. But you know what he said to me? He said, I'm not going to complain about them calling her after me, Kelly, because I take it as a compliment. And we're in good company and she's in good shoes. Did you say that? That's great validation. I love that. And he said to tell the girls he hears the teasing and he'll take it. Do you
Okay.
understand it? Meaning like tell the kids. I love that so much. I also got this mention about, okay, there's a number 51, I just caught that.
51.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I've got all these numbers I have to keep in my head. 51.
Okay, I'll leave that. I know that'll make sense later. Yeah, they're just giving so many blessings with your grandparents. I have him for a few more minutes. I'm going to get everything else I can from him, and then I'll come to her for this last message. Yeah, listen. Do you understand the old farmland?
Farmland?
Mm-hmm. Okay, they're showing me really, really, really old farmland, like really old farmland, like early 1900s, late 1800s. I just know it goes back through the history. If you guys are still working on Ancestry, or if there's stuff you haven't traced, they'll make me feel part of it. I know as you guys trace the Ancestry, you're going to come across some of these old photos or information about like deed records. I think they're just trying to prepare you guys, okay? Because remember, even if some of those old photos of that land is in history, just with the way people are decorating, some people are doing more like farmhouse style houses and things like that, somebody might want to take some of those old photos of that property and actually blow them up or do black and whites. They just keep giving the blessing that you guys can use some of the photos that you'll eventually find in the Ancestry, and it's okay if the younger generations want them or want to copy them to honor the legacy in the family. That's all I heard. So I just know that that'll make sense later, and they're giving a blessing if anybody else wants to do that in the family. That's great validation. It'll take some time, but I know you'll understand that. Okay, I'm gonna have a few more minutes with him. I just heard the name Brian, I'm gonna honor that, if anybody recognizes that. I heard the name Ricky. So if they recognize like Rod or Rodney, I can hear that too. That's definitely another ancestor, I just want to respect him. These 20-some souls, I'm gonna slowly get their names as I get these last couple messages with you guys. There's a lady by the name of Arlene. That's different. Teresa, I hear that. I hear the name Karen, if anybody recognizes Karen. Okay, I might stop you there. We'll get some more names in a couple of minutes. I keep hearing about the back issues, back injury, complications that wind up leading to surgery. That's another issue they have an eye on in the family. So please just share it. I just know that some he's possibly facing back surgery and they're scared they'll be there for the operation if it's chosen, that it's getting to that point. I also hear them talking about remodeling, going through a remodel right now.
I've been doing some things, yeah.
Putting new floors in, or the thought of new floors.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad's like, talk about new floors. Good, did you do that, or have you thought about that?
I have done it, yeah.
Good. He just keeps saying to me about watching over all that. Good. So if that's something you've been doing, you've been slowly making changes to the house, especially since he's visiting in spirit, he sees it. It's wonderful. I do hear about keeping the old antique picture frames, or still having the antique picture frames. That's rare. Somebody still has some of those from your grandmother. Some of them were handed down to dad as well. And I hear some of the antique picture frames go back into your grandparents, and some of them are still kept within the family. I don't give pieces like that often, but do you understand that? They're saying they're happy about the antique picture frames still being here, so that's great validation. And somebody still has old war letters too.
Award letters?
War letters.
Oh, war letters. Hmm.
Please remember that could be aunts and uncles and
Mhm.
cousins with your grandparents and great-grandparents being here. I'm just being told they're happy that some of the war letters are kept in the family, and I know somebody has those. So you're gonna have to share that so somebody can claim it. Even if it's just one or two, or only one or two were kept out of a couple, I hear that there's old war letters that date back quite a ways that are still kept in the family. They're happy. I also hear there's still a Purple Heart in the family, and that somebody earned a Purple Heart, and that it's still saved and kept in honor as well. So just extra stuff I'm hearing by your dad.
I'm gonna have to send out some emails to some cousins.
Yeah.
Get some stuff out.
And do you understand what they're talking to me about Sicily?
We've talked about going to Italy, yeah.
Okay, I just keep hearing your dad say you guys should go to Sicily too. Look, if you have some of that Italian heritage that goes back in your family, whether people were from Sicily or they just think that you guys should have that experience as well besides Italy, there's just a blessing for it. Your dad's saying to me he'll be there for the trip if you guys choose to take it. Italy's on my bucket list too. It's one of the first places I want to go. Do you understand it? So it's like the biggest place I really want to be, because I have that Italian heritage, and some of my family comes from Italy as well, and I just want to kind of be there and have that experience. But I hear, don't close the door to Sicily, and keep that as a possibility. Even if you do most Italy and then check out that area as well, there's probably a reason that they're guiding you, because you could have like a soul experience or signs from them in spirit, or feel very spiritually drawn to certain areas of that, and your dad knows it. So there's a reason why I'm getting it, honey, okay? So if you're going in that whole direction of going to Italy, he's saying to me, mentions this to her. She should check it out too, and I'm like, I'll tell her. Good. So if you guys have been looking for that, if you've been looking at the trip or you've been planning it,
For a few years, yeah.
yeah, he'll be there. He's saying he's excited about taking the trip with you and that he'll be there, so it's great. I love that. All right, I'm gonna happen for a few more minutes and then we'll get this last connection or two. And I might just say, who are you hoping for, make them step in front of Joyce and Joanne, and do you understand it? And that's okay. It's rare I do that, I just let them naturally happen, but with me being a limited time, I'd rather get that big soul or two. So I'll just ask you who are the people you're hoping to hear from and just have them walk in. Do you understand?
Yep.
And we'll just leave your grandparents and Joyce and Joanne and Eddie kind of in the background, so no worries. It's all good. My guys are like, we have a little bit of time left. It's awesome. We're definitely breaking 5 hours. It's crazy, isn't it? They really have me in a strong channel, which is great. But their energy's getting depleted. It's a lot for them to go into 5 hours or more, so they're gonna give me everything they can. I was like, I know I only have a few more minutes with you. Tell me anything you can, because I was not expecting the horses. But it's one of those proof validations, because if you talk to him about horses when you were growing up and it's something you saw you loved, and you didn't have a chance to provide it, only you guys would know that. Do you understand? So it's okay. He can talk about anything he wants to. It is his agenda, his prerogative. That's perfectly fine. Do you understand him talking to me about gutting the kitchen or making changes to the kitchen?
Gina?
Yes. I used to do that all the time, go fishing and do that in the kitchen. And my mother hated it.
Yeah, he just keeps talking about gutting stuff in the kitchen, and I'm like, what are we doing? Now, he could have made me smell raw fish, but they're not, look,
Oh, I thought you meant gutting the kitchen.
No,
Oh,
gutting the fish in the kitchen.
Okay.
look, my guides know that I'm gonna get grossed out if I see blood and fish's heads being cut off. Do you understand it? And then he's talking about having to change the kitchen, and then she would always have to deal with the mess, and she'd have to clean up after him because he didn't always clean it up. Do you understand it? And then he's talking about her having to change stuff after him. Do you understand? Good. Because I'm like, who talks about this?
That's
He's-
wild.
But he's like, it's one of the things I have to say to my daughter because she knows it's me. Because they just still tell stories about that, and I'm still getting picked on even from here, and I hear it in heaven. Do you understand it? So it's one of the things he has to give, like Italy and the horses and all that stuff, right? But I hear this laughing and validation about gutting in the kitchen, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then my guys are like, yeah, he's talking about the fishing. He's like, look, Kelly, I caught those fish to feed my family. I was providing.
Every summer.
Do you understand it? And he's like, and there's times I came home with some pretty good fish, and it lasted a couple of days. But he enjoyed it. It's something he really loved. Do you guys still have any of the fishing rods, tackle boxes, lures, or any of that kept?
I don't have any of that, probably my nephews.
Please
but-
ask, because I feel like there's still a few pieces here. Because he's saying there's still a few pieces of his fishing days. He's like, they still have some stuff from the fishing days. And it doesn't have to be everything.
Mhm.
I just know that there's several pieces still kept here, so it's his way of making me feel some of that's been passed on the family as well. So that's wonderful. I hear the name Tony.
Tony?
Yeah, like Anthony, Tony. Do you understand that name?
Not in our family.
Okay, I'll leave that because it might be an older ancestor or a friend to the family. I just felt him walk in, he's just supporting, so he could even be a friend to somebody. But
Is that on her side?
it could be anybody's. I just hear he's supporting the message. How do you recognize Tony, honey?
It's my father-in-law.
Okay, good. So he might be supporting her family because I feel him standing behind her grandmother, and I hear that they're friends, so they might have made friends in line. And then I already felt those grandparents, Aunt Joan, Aunt Joycey, Eddie's here. They're gonna help your sibling come through. Okay, good. So we'll take our time with that. I just heard, hi Kelly and Tony, I'm friends. I'm like, okay. So they've become friends in line. Good. Are you guys friends as well?
Mm-hmm.
So your family can be friends if you guys are friends. That's perfectly okay. So they're helping you.
Well, hello.
So your grandfather. What'd you say?
I said, well, hello.
So your grandfather just walked in and said, "Hi Kelly, I'm Tony, call me Anthony." Do you
It's
understand?
my father-in-law.
Good. Yeah, he's here. Anthony, Tony. Your granddad's here as well. They're the two people, your granddad and Tony, that made friends with her grandfather.
Okay.
So I hear your grandfather tell me about the friendship. That's why I was saying
Okay.
granddad. But they're both here, and then I heard Kelly say Tony, say Anthony. Good. So this proper name was Anthony. He had to say Tony because it's what he went by. So we'll wait and see if we get piggybacking with him. Were you wondering if he would come through? He's like, I'm another person she was wondering about. I'm like, I hear you. Good. See, he's here. Yeah, okay, let's take our time with that. Because I'm getting flooded with a bunch of other health issues that we'll discuss in a couple of minutes because there's people lining up. Remember I said there were 7 souls. 3 of them are just Joan, Joyce, and Eddie. Do you understand it? Then your grandmother's here, your grandfather's here. Tony's here, and that sibling. Get it? Those are the 7.
Okay.
Okay. And there's a young female. Oh, there's a miscarried baby. I'm gonna leave that. I know somebody had a miscarriage. I might get the information about that. But remember, that can get into your grandmother's or great grandmother's as well. I can feel for her. Yeah, they just keep saying to me there should have been another child in the family. Early pregnancy between 5 to 6 weeks, it was a baby girl. So I'll leave it. A lot of times back through those older generations, they didn't have the medical advancement we did. Sometimes they'd be a couple weeks long. They weren't sure if they were fully pregnant or not. Sometimes they didn't have that information. And I just know when your grandmother's lost a child, I'm just not being told if it's a grandmother or great grandmother. And I'm being told 5 to 6 weeks pregnant, and it would have been a baby girl. They named her Emily on the other side. I can just feel her.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just honor that. Yeah, I'm like, anything else about the fish in the guts that I don't want to see? Because I was like, please no pictures. And he's like, no, just another way to prove it's me. Do you understand it? But like, who comes here talking about that? But it's one of the things he had to give me so you know it's him. He did some interesting validations. They were a little bit off the wall, but I can't control what he does. But sometimes I have to feel very unusual validations that aren't like what normal people talk about, so you know it's him. And that's okay. I mean, who comes through talking about gutting fish courses in Italy? They don't even match. He's fun. I love that. He said, I hope she understands that I'm always still here for her. I wanted to make her laugh. I didn't want her to be sad about my passing because I've been here so long, Kelly. It was important for me to tell you that I celebrated 20 years this year because that was a big milestone for me and a big milestone for them. But I'm always watching over them in all the ways that I can. And I'm so proud of the younger generations. They're the ones that keep my own the most. That's why I honored my granddaughter and son in Ukrainians. Tell my daughter how much I love her. But right now, that's where my soul assignment begins and lies, is within her. He's talking about your daughter when he says that. So even though there's all these younger generations and there's a lot of you he watches over, his soul assignment and the person who's with the strongest is your daughter, which is great. Because a lot of times we wonder as parents, like, who's watching over our children, who's their angel, who's keeping an eye on them, who's protecting them and taking care of them when we can. So I love that your dad's doing that for her, which is just great. And I love that you saw the dimes, because it's such a rare sign. I got a little flooded. I wasn't expecting all those heirloom blessings, but I still had to honor your grandmother because it's important. Not that I wouldn't have got all those heirloom blessings from her, all that time would have been bad. So it's okay that you shared time with her. But you can start to lose him. My guides are like, he held his energy as long as he could, and I'm like, that's okay. Okay, I think we're starting with Tony. Was it him and that sibling you were hoping for? And then there's a male stepping in behind him, behind Tony.
Okay.
Good, so we'll take our time with it, because past these 7, I might get some other people lining up, okay? Do you understand the lung cancer, honey? Okay. I had to ask, because it's a really old ancestor, but it's an uncle, and everything smells like an ashtray, and I think a lung cancer. He's back the history quite a ways, so I'm just gonna honor him.
Okay, okay.
Do you understand it?
I might, yeah.
Okay, good. I'll leave that, I just feel him, okay? So I'm just gonna honor him. Cause I got that first 7 people and now I have more people walking in and these are the other part of the 20 that are older ancestors for you.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna stop and see if I get any names or anything.
I'm glad.
Huh?
She said I'm popular, I said I'm glad.
I don't control it. I just honor them. Tony's an interesting soul to me. I have a feeling we're starting with him. That's okay. Was he the second person on your heart besides your sibling, honey?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Because he's like, I was number 2. And I might be taking him first and then getting that sibling as your big soul last. Because he might just be coming in just to take a couple minutes before I get that sibling to not take away from your sibling. Do you
Okay.
understand
Mhm.
it? How long's your sibling been gone for, honey?
28 years.
They're saying under 30, see my fingers, see how that goes? They're telling me, cause it's been almost 3 decades. Good. And I'm being told it was an unexpected passing and they were young. Do you understand it? Good. How young, honey?
He was 23.
Good. I heard under 40. That's the young male I feel behind Tony besides the uncle that smells like cigarettes with the lung cancer. Do you understand it? So that brother's moving in. Whew. Let's take our time with it. I'm going to get flooded with him. Gosh, I hear the song Freebird. Do you understand the song Freebird connected to your brother? Please remember, that could be friends or family members think of that song in honor, because it can get into friends as well. So they had to tell me he's under 40 because he's a young passing, because anybody under 40 is them saying it was somebody young in spirit. And they had to say he's going to be celebrating 3 decades soon because you guys are just over a year of celebrating 30 years, just like they said her dad's been gone 20 as far as 2 decades. But I heard we're going to be on 3 decades soon. Do you understand it?
Mhm.
And I do hear it was the youngest, hardest passing for the family. Is this your first chance to ever hear from him?
Mhm.
Because they're saying it's your first time.
Vocally, yes.
Okay.
I've seen things.
Okay, good. I was just talking about as far as him
Oh, yeah,
coming
no,
He's
first.
excited. Ooh, yeah, I'm going to get flooded with him in a little bit, but I love that him and Tony are going to share time. But they're saying to me, you guys weren't expecting to lose him, and it was very sudden and unexpected. Do you understand it? So
Mhm.
let's take our time with it, okay? And I want you to share the song Freebird because there was a lot of friends that really loved and missed him too, and there could be several friends that still think of that song in honor. Did you hear about saving the jean jacket or still keeping the old jean jacket? Somebody has one of those in honor of him.
Okay.
Do you understand the jean
Mhm.
jacket? He said, Kelly, I can't believe after all these years that old jean jacket's still there. I'm like, okay, that's
Mhm.
great. So I might start piggybacking him and Tony. And I hear a lot of old music from like the 60s and 70s, old rock and roll music from the 60s and
Mhm.
70s. That's really great. Look, I do smell a little marijuana, I'm gonna let you know. I'm like, who comes here smelling like marijuana? Tony, your
No.
father-in-law, Tony's laughing behind him going, he does.
Mhm.
Do you understand that?
I do.
It's so funny. It just means he was a little bit free spirit. He liked to smoke some marijuana. There wasn't anything wrong with that. Do you
Mhm.
understand it?
Mhm.
He's like, I drank, I smoked marijuana. He said, Kelly, I'll admit it. Sometimes I tried some LSD and some shrooms. I was good with that too. Did you guys realize he tried those? It is-
I know that he tried those, yes.
Good. It's okay. He's just admitting to me that he was free spirited with trying different things. But I know he smoked marijuana all the time, and that was really that drug of choice. And he's like, it made me chill. I'm like, who says chill? But then my guys are like, please remember the time and era he grew up in. And I'm like, that's right. Do you understand it?
Mhm.
He's a fun soul. He said, Kelly, I can't believe how many people came to celebrate me. I couldn't believe it.
Mhm.
That's your brother. Do you understand it?
Mhm.
That just means on a soul level from the other side, even after all this time, it's been close to 30 years, that he didn't realize how much impact he had on people. He said he can't believe how many people came to celebrate him.
Yeah.
And that just means friends and everybody showing up.
There was 250 people there.
That's fantastic. That's why. So it was just such a big service. And he just keeps saying to me, he's so grateful for all the people that came. Do you recognize the name Dennis or Denny?
Not related, but I do know a Denny.
How do you understand that, honey?
He was a friend of my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law.
Okay, we'll
He's
be
passed, I don't know.
He just walked in. Hi Kelly, I'm Dennis, call me Denny. He's here too. He's not gonna
I just know him as Denny, I don't know if his name is
That's okay.
Dennis. Okay.
Please tell everybody that he's at peace, he's looking for the connection, he just showed himself to me, he's not gonna take away from your brother and Tony, but he wanted to make sure I could see him, I know he's here, he's letting me see him. Let his family know he's looking for the connection, I know that he has some messages for them, as long as they're seeing a medium in full service to God, that's all that matters. I know he's been waiting, and he might have some private things to give to them, okay? So
Okay.
just pass that he's looking for that connection. Yeah, he just walked in. He just announced himself clear as day. Good. He's not gonna take away from your brother. But
Yeah.
a lot of times when they talk about how many people came to celebrate them, it's all of a sudden I feel like I'm at like the viewing and the funerals and stuff. And I can feel, I'm actually feeling like I'm walking around with your brother in spirit, like I'm right beside him, so I'm going into remote viewing, like I'm watching everything like a movie. And he's saying to me that he could hear everything that everybody was saying about him, and he loved hearing some of the stories as people looked at his pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand it?
Mm-hmm.
So he was in the room with you guys, he heard everything that everybody said in honor of him. So that's why he was saying how grateful he was that all of that was done. That's wonderful validation. Did you ever see the frogs?
Mm-hmm.
Tell my sister I sent her frogs, I've been doing it for years. I'm like, he uses frogs as signs. But he can use anything he wants.
He
He's like,
floods my pool with
With
them
them,
every
I-
summer.
he's like, tell her to watch for the frogs. And I'm like, is that a joke to her? And he said, of course. So he's actually using that as like a teasing sign. Do you understand it? He's also saying to me he's been sending songbirds. So one of the big ways to watch for him is songbirds. And I'm being told he's with mom the most.
Okay.
He's like, I'm watching over mom talk her. Sometimes I'll sit and I'll hold her hand, I'm right beside her. I know she's really struggling, she hasn't been the same since I've been here. Do you understand him saying that? And he's saying to me, your mom completely changed with losing him, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And I just know he's that soul that's given her comfort through it. That's important. This is also why I kept getting the pinwheel cookies when I felt your grandmother and I felt your grandmother here, and I knew we were gonna get a message about them watching over mom, and it's okay that it's coming from your brother, because even though your grandmother's watching over her, your brother's really serving as her number one angel. And he's saying to me she's the one that he sends the songbirds to all the time. And that could be anything that sings, honey, robins, blue jays, anything. Do you understand?
Okay,
The cardinals. I just want you guys to watch for those singing birds. It's one of the ways he comes through. And he said it's hard to look at this picture.
Yeah, I don't have any up in the
I know. Only you would know that. And he's like, Kelly, tell my sister I love her and tell her it's okay, because I know it's hard for her to look at my picture. Only you would know that. That's his way of proving it's him. Do you understand it? That's great validation, honey, okay? And I keep hearing him say older sibling.
I'm the oldest.
Mm-hmm. He's telling me you're his older sibling.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying to me he never gave you enough credit. Do you understand him saying that?
No, not
Look,
really.
it just means he looked up to you more than you realized, and he wishes he would have given you that credit and you didn't. That's what it's about. Do you understand it, honey? Good. He's another soul that even though he didn't live very long, he was happy for the time he was here. He's telling you that. That's important. Do you understand him talking to me about people lining stuff up and placing stuff outside in his honor?
No.
Please ask about that.
Okay.
Please remember, that could be anything. Places he used to hang out with his friends. It's okay that the family didn't. It doesn't always have to be visual sites. It doesn't always have to be car accident sites or anything like that. He just keeps saying to me, he saw the beer bottles, he saw the joints, and he saw the stuff